The $1 Million Garage.
I know we're on television, Floyd, but I think it's necessary for me to say, damn.
Well, you know, we are on ESPN. These are sports cars. It's a sports network. This car costs $3.2 million. This Bugatti right here costs $1.6 million. You ain't seen these?
I haven't seen these?
No.
What? Floyd, this is 7 cars, man. Silver, platinum, Miami, black, LA, white, Vegas.
Yeah, in New York, I got my drivers.
And you got your drivers in New York?
Yeah.
Why? Talk to me about why you make the decision to drive different colored cars in respective cities.
Spoiled brat.
Oh, just being a brat?
Just being a brat.
Oh, Lord, this is your closet?
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? I do got a Patek Philippe on my wrist.
Okay.
I think this watch probably costs $100,000 with no diamonds.
Let's move on. Here you are leading up to Manny Pacquiao on May 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
And something that you haven't been doing in quite a long time, you decided to go back to. Why is that?
I want to win. I really want to win.
He wants to win. He really wants to win. That's another excerpt from Stephen A's 7-hour-plus date with Floyd Mayweather. You got a chance to go to his home, the $1 Million Garage. And he also said, again, what's probably most important is that he wants to win. There's some huffing and puffing to my left, some head shaking to my right. I'll start with the huffing and the puffing.
Go to your left.
I'm going to go to the huffing and puffing.
Go to the left.
Yeah, your reaction. Stop it.
Stephen A. Smith. You want to know my reaction? It's Lord have mercy on all of us. On all of us. Wait, I was losing track. 3.2 million was for the Bugatti? Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay. And then it was...
You got 5 of them.
Yeah. 1.6 for something. I don't know. I was losing track.
One was 1.6.
Okay.
The other was 3.2.
Yeah. All right, let me write this down.
He said it's the only car. He said it's the only car in the world that actually appreciates in value. So he bought one for the 1.6. It's now worth $3 million.
Yeah. Floyd's mind is so quick, and I'm not kidding about this. He does have a great business mind. Quick calculation, because you said 15 to 20 million just in cars in the garage. He said, no, it's 15 million. He just added it up in his head. Now I'm back to my point the other day, and we're going to talk about this. In all my career, my lengthy career of covering professional athletics, never, ever have I seen a professional athlete flaunt his wealth the way this man, Manny Mayweather, flaunts his wealth. He rubs our noses in his wealth, in his opulence, in the grandeur of his mansion, in the cars that shimmer in his $1 Million Garage. He gloats about it. To a fault. I don't know what the MO is. We'll figure this out in just a minute. But here's the contrast for me. As I watched your piece on SportsCenter while I was running on the treadmill this morning, I was trying at the same time to read my USA Today from today. And one of the lead stories on the front of the sports section is Pacquiao's time at Fleabag Motel revealing. And it talks about how even after Manny came to this country and started making a little bit of money boxing, he continued to stay at this $50 a night Fleabag Motel within walking distance of Freddie Roach's gym, the Wild Card Gym in Hollywood. And for those who don't know, there are parts of Hollywood ain't so cool, right? Most parts. I mean, most people think, Hollywood, you're in Hollywood. No, you're not. It gets a little rough in many parts of Hollywood. So in this story, I'm reading along, and I told you the story about Manny grew up in poverty in the Philippines, had to leave home at age 14 because his mother could no longer feed him. Then I read this anecdote in this story. Around age 10, it got so bad in the household that Manny's father killed the family dog for food. Killed the family dog for food. And Manny was so upset about it that he became estranged from his father at that point, and this precipitated eventually, in a few more years, his leaving home to just live on the streets of the Philippines and box for a living because he started making $2 a fight. Street fights, $2 a fight. So this is the man who came from that kind of poverty. And by contrast, Floyd Mayweather Jr. was really he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth because his father was a professional boxer. His uncle was a professional boxer. I'm not saying they were wealthy at that point, but compared and contrasted to the way Manny grew up, I think Floyd had some money as he was growing up. Again, in boxing parlance, had the silver spoon in his mouth. So now we can talk about how this affects the wills of each boxer heading into this fight, because one's from the equivalent of a third world country ghetto, and the other is flaunting his wealth and talking of retirement. Your response to that?
Well, first of all, you're accurate in terms of what Floyd does juxtaposed to what Manny Pacquiao has done. You're also accurate in elocuting that we haven't seen a professional athlete floss the way this brother flosses. There's no question about it. I wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. Most guys wouldn't do it. But let's be clear. Most folks can't. Let's also be clear about something else here. Most folks don't come from where Floyd came from to this level of success. I don't just look at the actions of what somebody does. I try to discover to some degree its origin. And what I want to do here, Skip Bayless, Kerry Champion, is be very, very careful about how I express this, because now you're getting deeper, because you're talking about somebody and you're talking about their upbringing, which ultimately leads you to talking about their family. I respect Floyd Mayweather Sr. I respect what he has done in the sport of boxing, as a boxer, as a trainer. Sugar Ray Leonard, even though he beat him, talked about how tough he was. And obviously, even Floyd is willing to admit, although he's taken it to another level, the greatness, at least initially, in terms of its origin, came from somewhere, so he's not trying to rob his father of that. But it's important to note that at times in the past, with 24/7, when Floyd was on HBO, before he moved to Showtime, his history with his dad was well documented. And you see some of the things that he alludes to. Skip, there are some people who don't have, even when they appear to have. Because just because your father was earning something doesn't mean he shared it with you. Just because your family had something doesn't mean you had access to it, because if your relationship ain't what it should be, then where does that leave you? Was Floyd starving and homeless? Not to my knowledge. But Floyd, at the very least psychologically, had an incredibly difficult upbringing. If you listen to and go back and watch those tapes, it even got to a point where his father literally said, I love my son, but my son needs to get his you-know-what whipped, because that needs to teach him some manners. That's what he said about him in the past. That's how estranged they were at one time. That's clearly not the case now. His father was there when I did the interview for the last couple of hours. They seem to have rectified whatever was the divide, and I'm happy for them about that, more than you could possibly know. Because as a black man, you don't want to see a man with his father being that divided. But the flip side to it is that you can't ignore what Floyd had to go through. And ultimately, no matter what love, you can point to anything, the love, the cars, the house, the plane, or whatever the case may be, everything came from the money. So if everything came from the money, and that included not just materialistic things, but emotion and love, or whatever the case may be, whatever's in the mind's eye that convinces you you're respected or you're loved or whatever the case may be, it came from the success that you reaped. And what I see when I'm around Floyd is somebody who is clearly the boss, and more than anything else, Skip, lavishes in being the boss. And what enables him to be the boss is the money he's able to dole out to individuals who work for him. That's what he clearly cares about just as much as anything else, because to him, to not have it is to be exploited and taken advantage of and steamrolled over. And that is Floyd's nightmare. That is what he fights to ward off all the time. And if you talk to a lot of brothers out here in this world that have had similar problems, even if they don't come anywhere close to having achieved the level of success that Floyd has achieved, it's all the same for us. when you come from a background where you have that kind of divide, whether it's in the form of money, success, power, whatever it entails in your little cocoon, whatever secures you and insulates you from the abuse psychologically that you feel you were exposed to earlier on in life, you do everything you can to avoid that. This is his way of avoiding it. It's hard for me to argue with that.
Okay, this is the way he avoids it, meaning what way? He's doing what to avoid it?
The way that he avoids it is not only being successful and being rich, but flaunting it as if to say, I don't need you, I don't need anybody. I'm going to be all right. So we can sit there and talk about him. We can malign him. We can do a lot of things. But it's usually going to be from afar. The people in his inner circle wouldn't dare do that because he'd ice them. So he's insulated by that. That's where his comfort zone lies. And regardless of how, I mean, I see you, and I don't blame you for feeling the way. Please don't get me wrong. I don't blame you for feeling the way that you feel. But for a lot of individuals, particularly young black men who have gone through similar circumstances, again, you don't have to have his success, but any semblance of power that will ward off the vultures from coming at you to eat you alive, you will utilize it to keep them at bay. This is a mechanism I believe he uses to do just that.
Okay. I appreciate that, and I accept that. I can't really relate to it, but I respect it. Now, he's on the biggest stage of his life. Not that he hasn't been on big ones before, but this is a big stage. He just did 7.5 hours with Stephen A. Smith, All Access. There still is another motivation operating under the surface with Floyd in how he's trying to present himself to the boxing public or the public at large. Now, this is drawing in people from all walks of sports life. Well, to me, this is just me, and maybe this is his M.O. He is making me like him less by the day. I keep trying to like him a little bit, or at least respect him as a boxer, and now I can't even, I try to reach out a little bit with my arm psychologically, and I can't even do that because he's just driving me farther and farther away.
But Skip, you're not getting it. He doesn't want you to like him. You know why? Because he's actually, and again, the whole stuff, you know, he was incarcerated. Domestic violence issues. That's a separate issue. So he understands how the Kerry champions and women out there would feel about him. He gets that part. But when it comes to you, Skip, when it comes to me, when it comes to people who love boxing, he actually wants you to dislike him right now because he's disgusted with people like you and others who have put him in a position where he feels like he still has something to prove. His attitude is, not only am I 47-0, the sport of boxing has proven to be, in a lot of folks' eyes, corrupt. To the days of Sonny Liston, for crying out loud, where there was questions about Muhammad Ali and everything. He's like, wait a minute. Boxers have been at the mercy of the sport for decades, and here I come. I'm my own boss. I accomplished all of this, and y'all trying to knock me down? He's appalled by it.
I get it. It doesn't matter what I think of him. All that matters to me is that I believe he's creating deeper and deeper animosity in the psyche of a Filipino who came to this country to survive as a boxer named Manny Pacquiao.
And he has that animosity towards Pacquiao, and that's what you're missing. He feels Pacquiao chirping, while also trying to paint himself as the good guy. And he said on many occasions, you don't know about Manny Pacquiao's life, but I'm not going to say anything because I wouldn't do what he's doing. Oh, trust me, he wants this now too.
All right, let's leave it there, Stephen A. We got a guest. Speaking of the fight, he's a top 5 prospect, former Florida defensive end Dante Fowler Jr. joins the desk. But before you do, please make your pick.
Oh, please.
Kidding, make your pick.
Because you already know I'm going with Floyd.
Yeah.
All right.
Shocker.
So he will join the desk. He will talk about why he's picking Floyd and the NFL draft. Back in a moment. First take, just getting started, folks. Stop it.
Stephen A. Smith. You want to know my reaction? It's Lord have mercy on all of us. On all of us. Wait, I was losing track. 3.2 million was for the Bugatti? Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay. And then it was...
Got 5 of them.
Yeah, 1.6 for something. I don't know. I was losing track.
One was 1.6.
Okay.
The other was 3.2.
Yeah. All right, let me
And
write
he
this
said
down.
he said it's the only car. He said it's the only cars in New York.
Yeah.
Why? Talk to me about why you make the decision to drive different colored cars in respective cities.
Spoiled brat.
Oh, just being a brat?
Just being a brat.
Oh Lord, this is your closet?
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? I do got a Patek Philippe on my wrist.
Okay.
I think this watch probably costs $100,000 with no diamonds.
Let's move on. Here you are leading up to Manny Pacquiao on May 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
And something that you haven't been doing in quite a long time. You decided to go back to. Why is that?
I want to win. I really want to win.
He wants to win. He really wants to win. That's another excerpt from Stephen A's 7-hour-plus day with Floyd Mayweather. You got a chance to go to his home, the $1 million garage. And he also said, again, what's probably most important is that he wants to win. There's some huffing and puffing to my left, some head shaking to my right. I'll start with the huffing and the puffing.
Go to your left.
I'm going to go to the huffing and puffing.
Go to the left.
Yeah, your reaction.
The $1 million garage.
I know we're on television, Floyd, but I think it's necessary for me to say, damn.
Well, you know, we are on Espn. These are sports cars. It's a sports network. This car costs $3.2 million. This Bugatti right here costs $1.6 million. You ain't seen these two.
I haven't seen these?
No.
What? Floyd, this is 7 cars, man. Silver, platinum, Miami, black, LA, white, Vegas.
Yeah, in New York, I got my drivers.
And you got your driver. The car in the world that actually appreciates in value. So he bought one for the 1.6. It's now worth $3 million.
Yeah, Floyd's mind is so quick, and I'm not kidding about this. He does have a great business mind. Quick calculation, because you said 15 to 20 million just in cars in the garage. He said, no, it's 15 million. He just added it up in his head. Now I'm back to my point the other day. And we're going to talk about this. In all my career, my lengthy career of covering professional athletics,